You have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. You have to trust in something. Your gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever.
Stay hungry.
Hungry. Foolish. Stay hungry, stay foolish.
This is the E-Commerce All-Stars podcast, brought to you with heart by Nadimo.com.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining today's podcast with your host Brandon Moskwa. And today I'm excited. We have Mike Zagari on the call. He's a full-time entrepreneur, a recovering physical therapist, which I'm very curious about, Mike. He's an Amazon seller, and he's also the founder of PPC Entourage. So I'm excited to have him on the call today to talk a lot about Amazon. How are you doing today, Mike?
Hey, Brandon, excellent. I'm excited to be here as well and to share some information.
That's cool. Just before we get too far in on what your background, I'm going to let you share shed some light on all that. I am curious about recovering physical therapist. What's that all about?
I mean, it sounds pretty funny, right? Recovering physical therapist. Well, I think we all are forced to make a decision, or some of us are, and I was one of them at 17 or 18, and I had to choose a profession, and I kind of put a bunch of things together and came up with physical therapist out of nowhere, actually. And, realized as I was going through school and my hair was falling out that it probably wasn't the best career choice for me. But, muscled through it, got my degree, and then for about 7 to 8 years, I was a physical therapist, and I woke up every single day with dread. And I have entrepreneurship in my bones and in my family, and I knew the entire time that, man, if I could find a vehicle that was different than physical therapy, man, I would just absolutely love that. And my dream day is to go to Starbucks two times a day, have coffee, work on my business, work from anywhere, and just simply crush it working on my business. That is what I wanted to do. And it took quite some time to get to that point where I was able to work on Amazon exclusively. So now I consider myself a recovering physical therapist because I do not miss it whatsoever, and happy to be on the other side of that.
Very cool. So if you don't mind, I'd like you to kind of give a little bit more of a background on yourself in regards to what you've done with Amazon and what, PPC Entourage, and a little bit more of a background on yourself, so for those who don't know who you are.
Right. So I started my Amazon business in 2015, and we started with one product in the pet industry, and we sought out to make that product very different and unique in the marketplace. And we were able to get that product to sell pretty fast on Amazon, and we decided to start a line of products around that product, and eventually that became our brand. Along the way in 2016, we realized that there was a huge opportunity to get massive amounts of exposure on Amazon. There's millions of people searching for various things there, and we wanted to get immediate exposure to some of our newer products in that product line, and we thought that the best way to do that was to master sponsored products. Now, I'm still new to the game. I'm about a little over 3 years in, so I don't consider myself an expert in this, but I do have a lot of experience, and we've worked with a lot of sellers in getting their listing to the top of Amazon where all of the traffic is. So in 2016, it was still really, really new, and it still is considered really, really new in comparison to things like Google AdWords and stuff like that. So the platform was so new, and it was very cumbersome and time-consuming. So while we were getting all of the exposure and we were getting lots of sales, we were able to scale pretty quickly. It just took us forever. I basically spent hours going through spreadsheets and sifting through things, and just realized that this wasn't really a good solution. So that's where PPC Entourage was born. And it was a nice little transition from starting my Amazon business to scaling that, and also helping other Amazon sellers scale their business and spend less time doing so.
Sorry, Mike. Sorry, everybody. I had the mute button on, and my finger was too fat and couldn't push it. No, that's a very interesting story. And I mean, there's a lot of people that want to sell on Amazon, are selling on Amazon, they either have great luck or they don't have great luck. I mean, it's just like every other business, right? Where you really have to know know the space, and you have to commit yourself to it. And it sounds like you did that, and then you learned from that and built PPC Entourage from that. What are some of the, I'd love to hear your insights into your journey through Amazon, and either how it led you to PPC Entourage more, or just just some general strategies and common mistakes and those types of things that you've seen on a regular basis,
Right.
or
So,
even done yourself. I mean,
yeah, so I've had so many failures along the way, and this has been a couple of years of really good success in business, but I've had a lot of failures along the way, a lot of lessons learned from those failures, and I've always found, to me, that the most important thing was working on my business mindset and mindset stuff. Like, I feel like that is the secret sauce for me personally, whereas before I would just...
I just want to, sorry, I'm going to interject. Can you explain what you mean by that?
Yeah, for sure. So things to start the day on the right foot. Like I do meditation, I do exercise, and I eat right, things of that nature. And I always invest in the books that are going to help me overcome obstacles, going to help me take my energy to a new level. I just went to a course by Dr. Joe Dispenza, which was really, really good on raising your energy. And it's just been a very amazing journey. And I think that has been the best part of entrepreneurship, because there's going to be a lot of obstacles along the way. And so in order to overcome those obstacles, I really had to dig deep and learn a bunch of stuff, because I had some really, really nasty habits that were set up, and I think it was causing a huge roadblock to success. One of my failures, I actually closed down the post office because I did retail arbitrage and online arbitrage. Basically, I purchased like hundreds of units from Toys R Us when they were still here and sent them to my house on the weekend before Christmas. So it was an absolute nightmare. I have images of like my entire apartment being taken over by boxes of all of this stuff. So basically what I'm saying is I was getting in my own way until I decided to learn why I was getting in my own way. And I feel like that is the secret sauce. And once you figure that piece out, it's just about finding the right vehicle. And for me, the right vehicle was Amazon.com. It still is an amazing vehicle. There's so much opportunity out there, in my opinion.
Very interesting. So now that I cut you off in midstream of your further genius, I would love to hear some of these failures that you had, and some strategies and whatnot.
Right. So there's been plenty of failures along the way. I mean, Amazon is we find the biggest obstacle to overcome is making sure you're managing your inventory properly, because it's this fine game of ordering the right amount but not ordering too much, because that screws up your cash flow. And that has been something that if I wish I had started over, I would have started from the beginning and had a really good system in place, because we've definitely lost out on that. Then it's all about having a really, really good product. So you can source a product just like everybody else, but what is making your product better and more unique in the marketplace, and why should somebody choose your product over somebody else's? Because if you make that decision right from the very beginning, then more likely your product is going to stand out, your listing is going to be better, you could have better images, you may get better reviews because it's new and unique in the marketplace, and then everything becomes a lot easier if you start off from the right foot. There used to be a time back in like 2014, 2015, when you could just throw up your product and just slap a label on it, call it your own, and sell a lot on Amazon. Unfortunately, those days are long gone, and now there has to be something that's unique to the marketplace, which is cool because, creativity is a fun thing when you really dive into it, and there's a lot of opportunities still. So a strategy we use is we actually dig into what people are searching for in what's called a search term report. When Amazon customers are searching for products, they actually tell us what they're searching for and what they've purchased. We can see what they've purchased, so we can start to get into the minds of our customers to see exactly what they're looking for. And then we take that as the foundation for product research, and then go ahead and find products, basically find what they need, and also figure out ways to make it better and better serve the marketplace.
That's interesting. I had I think his name is Stephen Chu on the line once, and we talked about that. And one of the things he said was finding products that you can make better. So if you find products that have like 2 or 3 star reviews, but there's a lot of sales in that area, go to the reviews, find out why they're not necessarily getting good reviews, and it might just be something like the colors aren't what they were expecting, or there's certain things that in there that you could go ahead and you might be able to capitalize on, and then next thing you know, you have a winning product because it's because you've addressed the problem, but yet it's a high volume product.
Yeah, we actually have a story
sorry,
about that, if you don't mind me.
I'd love that. Yeah.
Our first product was like the average size, like it was like a normal size for the type of product that we sell, and then it's a cat litter mat basically, the normal size that everyone else was selling, but we had a better design. A blogger got a hold of us and said, hey, we're going to post about your product, and at the very bottom of her post, she said, hint, hint, we would love to see this in a jumbo size. And I was like, oh, wow. So I spoke to my partner, and we decided to make one like double the size. This thing was huge. And who would have known like a nice-looking cat litter mat that's like absolutely huge would be a good hit, would be a big hit, but it really was. And we were first to market with a larger size product because that's what the marketplace was looking for. It was new, it was unique. We were able to charge more for it. Our margins were much higher. And I think perhaps this is what Steve was talking about when he mentioned finding products that could be better based on customer reviews.
Mhm. That's probably exactly what he's talking about, and that's the thing too. You say a jumbo mat, and I think back when we had a cat and how much, we had the cat litter mat, but it still got all over the place. And I used to say, oh, I wish we had a bigger one of these. So yeah, that's a guy who doesn't have cat. Had one cat his entire life, but wanted exactly what you started selling. So anyhow, that's an interesting story. So what exactly is PPC Entourage? Like, what does it do?
Right. So PPC Entourage assists Amazon sellers in getting their products up to the very top of Amazon, or to get visibility throughout the Amazon platform. So right now, it's very it's much more challenging and difficult to get your product onto the very first row of Amazon without spending a lot of money on launches and contacting outside referrals, like all sorts of things to get more traffic to Amazon. It's much more challenging than it used to be. So basically, what PPC Entourage allows you to do is to work to get your product up to the very top of Amazon through sponsored products. So we teach people, we have a blueprint that they follow, and we teach them how to set up 4 different campaigns that are unique, and they all sort of fall and fit into each other, and show people why we're setting up this campaign in a certain way. And the goal is to give them mass exposure on the greatest selling platform that this world has ever seen, from start to finish. So if somebody's looking for your product, we will teach you how to get massive brand exposure on what's called the headline search ad. That's the very top ad at the very top of Amazon.com. Right below that is the sponsored product ads, which PPC Entourage, the original, helps sellers to get exposure on that very top area for sponsored products. Then it's the organic listings. So the goal is to have visibility on both the headline search, the sponsored products, and the organic listings, and we call that swarming the competition. Basically, if somebody sees your products 3 or 4, maybe even 5 times, because of headline search ads, you can put it up there, like you can put up 4 different images of the same product, potentially, if you wanted to do it that way. You can get massive exposure, massive real estate on Amazon, and people are more likely to purchase your products than your competitors. So our software, it helps you do that, but it helps you also save money by figuring out what search terms are just costing you a ton of money, so you don't have to spend any more money on those search terms, and you can do, various optimization strategies to reduce ad spend.
Very interesting. It sounds like it does a lot. You talked about earlier about the search term report. is that, I mean, a PPC entourage aside, you're looking at that search term report to do what for you?
Right. So anyone who sells on Amazon could have access to the search term report. And what it's going to do is it's going to show you the actual search terms that people put in the search bar to find and purchase your product. As long as you have sponsored products set up, then somebody's going to search for your product. That's either going to be linked to a keyword. Let's say you put in your campaign, let's say you're selling a grill brush, and you put in your campaign the keyword grill brush as an exact match type. That means you're saying, I want visibility for that keyword, and when somebody types in grill brush, that's an exact connection. That's going to be the search term that people have searched for, and that will show up in the search term report. It's not always that simple. Sometimes you can put what's called a broad match type, which means you give Amazon more leeway to make a decision and a connection to your audience. So if you put in grill brush as a broad match type, somebody who types in something like New York Jets grill brush, you know, the ones that have like the team or something, or extra long grill brush. Those are the search terms that might show up in the search term report because that's what people may actually be putting in the search bar. That information, if you look into it and dig into it on a routine basis, is absolute gold because you can find product variations. You can find how many people are searching for a specific item. You can find related items that people are searching for but got distracted and then purchased your product. So you can start to know a little bit more about your audience. And studying that on a weekly basis has really been a game changer for people that we work with.
Interesting. One of the things that you mentioned there was learning more about your customer, which is very hard to do when you're selling on a marketplace. I mean, there's ways to do it, but I'm just kind of curious as to if I'm kind of, let me just think about this for a second. When our organization specializes in e-commerce site development. That's one of our specialties. And one of the things we're big on is, understand your customer, know what your customer wants and needs. And there's ways when you own your own site, there's ways and tools that you can put in place to follow, either search terms like you said, but they'll also follow the flow throughout the site and that sort of thing to learn how they're navigating the site. Now, you obviously can't learn how they're navigating a site with Amazon, but do you have any secrets of success there as to learning a little bit more about the customer, or is this really the key to understanding that?
Yeah, you can pull some of the emails from Amazon and bring them over to Facebook. That's what we've been doing, and then we've been doing like an audience insights onto the people that we do get. It's not always an exact match, but we'll get like maybe 40 or 50% of the emails that and pull them over into Facebook and then really dive into like who our customer avatar is. But what I was talking about before was more of the search terms that they use to purchase our product. Like what exactly are they using in the search bar? And then how can we put that into our listing in some way, shape, or form so that when they go and look for that product, there's some congruency. They can feel like as if we are speaking to them and we are connecting directly to them with our listing. And there's various ways that you can do that. You can dig into the customer reviews. That's a great way to do it because you're getting into the customer's mind and you're seeing and listening to what they're saying, and then you can put that into your listing along with some of the search terms. There's various things you can do. But also, learning your customer avatar is really, really important because then you can start to create products that they would likely purchase and also start to branch out into other product lines and niches.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the success. That's your growth strategy right there in all essence. If you want to stay on Amazon and grow your Amazon business, you're going to have to grow your product line and what you've just said there is really essentially one of the key ways to doing that.
Absolutely, yes. It's been helpful for us, and now we just have like 4 or 5 different product lines, and we come out with new products and just place them into the product lines. We haven't started a new product line in about a year, and we're going to be doing that soon, but it's very simple. Just find new products that fit our niche and then enter them in, And now we have all of the traffic already going there. It's much easier to cross-promote. It's much easier to improve our insert cards to promote a new product. The entire thing starts to work better when there's some synchronicity between the products and your product line.
Right, exactly. And then having all of that in such a structure. I mean, the one thing that I didn't mention to people, but I mean, you essentially you escape the daily grind and turn to $40,000 a month side hustle, which to many people $40,000 a month would not be a side hustle to them, but you turn that into a $400,000 a month legitimate business. And I think one of the things that in order to do that, and correct me if I'm wrong, you have to have these systems and procedures in place to enable yourself to do that. My guess is that PPC Entourage became one of those systems and procedures, at the blueprint you spoke about earlier, and that type of thing. But were there any other hidden tips or tricks to help people even just get to the $40,000 a month side hustle? I think if you could share any of those, that would be fantastic.
Right. So we already mentioned that finding a product that's unique to the marketplace is really essential, and that's super important. And once you I'm a big stickler for systems and processes myself. I love having good systems in place. I actually feel like off when I'm doing a task that I know I shouldn't be doing. I'm like, how can I systematize this to free up time, to make it easier and smoother for everybody on the team, all of these different things. So once you do start getting the ball rolling, I love to do what's called a brain dump and just basically dump out every single thing in my mind and then go through my day and dump out that as well and then try to find ways to systematize it. And yes, that's actually how PPC Entourage was born, because it was a huge endeavor that we had to do, like 10 to 12 hours every single week. And we got it down to 15 minutes or less because of the system. So that frees up more time to be creative and to do other things, like enjoy life and have fun and go on vacations and stuff like that. So, that even if you're just getting started and I was working a 9 to 5, there could be some system that you put in place to work actively on your business if you seek to, get out of the grind, so maybe some kind of system to work in the morning or in the afternoon for even making a little bit of progress every single day. I know personally that if I'm not making progress in my day, I feel a little bit off. And to me, it's just about making a little bit of progress every single little day. And over time, that really compounds and adds up. So if you're just getting started, that would be my advice. Just keep going a little bit every single day. Absorb and learn as much as you can and implement whatever you've learned.
Well, I just want to jump on that point too. And you said making a little bit of progress every day and how much that can actually benefit you. But you also started the podcast by talking about starting your day on the right foot, and that mental aspect of things. And I think what you've just said there too about the progress daily, I think that speaks volumes towards what your mental state is. And when you're either a solopreneur or you've got a small team, and even if you're growing and you've got hundreds of people working for you, it doesn't matter. It really comes down to your personal mental state, and I think a lot of those things that you spoke about enable you to have a freer mind and be able to be positive in your workday. And I think that positivity and that positive energy and the focus on either systematizing something that you're spending time grinding away on that either someone else could be doing it at a lower fee, like a lower wage, or it could be automated by computer system, something like that. Whatever that may be, you're not going to even see those types of things if you're not clear-headed. And in order to be clear-headed, you have to go back to what you said in the beginning, which is starting your day on the right foot.
Absolutely. The Miracle Morning was a book that I've always been a morning person myself, but the Miracle Morning kind of puts everything into perspective if you're new to being a morning person, and it goes over several things that people with lots of success and, most importantly, happiness do on a regular basis to set themselves up for success on a daily basis, even on Sunday. Everything that I say is even on Sunday. And if it feels good, I do it even on Sunday. And actually, I like to work on my businesses even on Sunday because it feels good to work, to be creative, to grow, to make progress. Even on Sunday, why not? So if unless there's something that's a bigger obligation, I'd love to work on my business on Sunday, and especially the mindset thing every single day, because it just sets me up for a happy, successful day.
Awesome. So, I mean, we've talked, I think, in a sense, full circle. And so I'd love to end it here, but end it with two things. One that I always end the show with. One is your final word of wisdom or words of wisdom, and how people can get a hold of you.
Cool. So final word of wisdom. There's kind of a lot of things that came to my mind, but get in front of as many eyeballs as possible. So if you have a really good product and you're really confident in that product, if it sells itself, just get in front of as many eyeballs as possible. That is what we have done for success. And people can get a hold of me by going to ppcentourage.com/ecommerceallstars, or they can email me directly at mike@ppcentourage.com. We also have a Facebook group page, PPC Entourage. You can search for us, and I'm happy to answer any questions related to PPC or Amazon on that page.
Fantastic. Well, thanks again for your time and your wisdom, Mike. It's been a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thanks, Brandon. Enjoyed it a lot. Thanks, guys.
You have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. You have to trust in something. Your gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever.
Stay hungry.
Hungry. Foolish. Stay hungry. Stay foolish.
This is the E-Commerce All-Stars podcast, brought to you with heart by Nadimo.com.